To downtown Philadelphia, I see it a little bit in Pittsburgh now too, but more in Philadelphia, there are whole blocks, like multiple blocks of areas you can't go. There are addicts walking like zombies, into the streets with needles sticking out of their necks.
Paints a grim picture, huh? Sounds like Oz is aware of a major problem affecting people in large Pennsylvania cities. Except this is 100% disingenuous fodder to get votes. Oh, Oz is aware of the homeless and drug addicts, all right. He probably passed right by a few on his way to the Wegeners for his crudité inflation stunt. What he and so many like him do is create a visual, a disgusting visual, saying these people are zombies with needles sticking out of their necks.
This is a doctor running for U.S. Senate.
It's dehumanizing. And what does that activate in Republican voters? Their fear center.
We're hardwired to give priority to information about threats. We will always prioritize negative information. So we'll notice it first, we'll remember it longer, and it will be more influential in our subsequent decision-making than will other information.
Anyone roaming the street at odd hours without a stable home is an immediate threat to your well-being and the appearance of your neighborhood. And Oz just turned them into the Walking Dead for a little extra flavor. Instead of seeing them as victims of society's rejection, dismissal, and maltreatment, he's painting them as the villain. Because fear motivates a lot of people to vote. And any way that Republicans can get more votes is good to retain power. I mean, look at a poll of what Republicans care about this election season. It's all fear-based. And it doesn't matter who's in power. Grievance politics is always going to win against the other team if you make people think that Democrats want things like the homeless and drug addicted terrorizing your community. Remember, they did the same thing in 2020 with black men and immigrants coming for suburban white women.
No, I think the women from the suburbs are looking for a couple of things. One of them is safety, one of them is good, strong security, and one of them is they don't want to have low-income housing built next to their house.
700% increase, refugees coming from the most dangerous places in the world, including Yemen, Syria, and your favorite country, Somalia, right? You love Somalia. This guy loves Somalia.
It's such a cheap society-killing tactic for such big political points. And I'm ashamed that some of my fellow voters are this easily influenced. What Oz and Republicans conveniently don't tell voters is that the offense is not the people on the street. The offense is a much greater, more long-term effort by politicians, capitalist interests, and consistent propaganda that maintains the existence of homelessness and drug addiction. What the voters don't know about how the sausage is made won't hurt us. That's what Republicans are saying. And Oz's campaign personally benefits from this system. I mean, frankly, the Democratic Party does too. It's why we haven't seen even what we progressives would call modest reform, with access to mental health care, more focus on rehabilitation, better access to livable wages, or decriminalization of marijuana use. All things that can keep people off the streets, but because they'd make them less vulnerable to drug abuse and starvation and general health decline. Republicans only see the poor and afflicted as a present disturbance, whereas progressives want them to have rich, healthy lives. Both parties have the power to help those who are living and using on the streets, and there is a societal cost to doing nothing. However, only one subset of one party is willing to examine the causes of the problem and future benefits of reform in the context of humanity.
If you fail to see the human in people in the struggle, you should not be in a position to write and advocate and pass legislation over millions of human beings.
It is incumbent upon us, especially in light of current housing shortages, to address the plight of the homeless rather than sweep them under the rug.